Welcome to the coolest stuff on the planet.
Is this your wife? What a lovely throat. And that, of course, was a silly interpretation of an intertitle from the classic 19... You all right, Rachel?
Sorry, I'm trying not to giggle over here. Proceed, sorry.
From the film Nosferatu, that was produced in 1922. Classic. Anyway, Halloween is coming up pretty soon, everybody, so we thought it'd be fun to talk about vampires a bit, and perhaps Count Dracula.
You know, that quote just reminded me of, what was the one that was made later, The Shadow of the Vampire? And he's like, talking about the prop girl or something. He's like, I'll eat her later.
Oh, yeah.
I love that line.
Nice.
But anyway.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about Vlad Dracula, and we're headed to Romania. So our first stop is to Bran Castle, which is often kind of hyped up as Dracula's castle. And we'll talk about whether that's authentic a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, every year, hordes of tourists, hundreds of thousands, come to Bran Castle to take a tour of Dracula's castle.
Yeah, that's right. Look at it. Towering above the city of Brasov, the castle juts out from a peak in the Carpathian Mountains in Transylvania. The castle was constructed in the 14th century, Rachel, and it was a defensive fortress against the Ottoman Empire. But it also served as kind of a customs point for moving between Wallachia, it doesn't exist anymore, but it did, and Transylvania. So Wallachia, if we're looking at a map, Rachel, is on I guess it's the lower east part.
It was the southern Romania. Mm-hmm.
And then Transylvania is kind of northeast, or northwest of that area, up above.
Yeah, it's in central Romania today. Yeah. Over the years, Bran Castle has changed hands a lot. It was in the hands of the Romanian royal family for a while. Then the communists seized it. And then after that, it was returned to the royal family. And today it is owned by a member of the royal family, but it's run as a museum. So it's a private residence that is run, it's kind of funded by the state as a museum.
So Rachel, let me ask you a question. What is your favorite thing about castles and fortresses and that kind of thing?
I would have to say probably like the turrets, the towers. I've always loved that.
That just stick up in the air and they're very imposing.
Well, maybe all of the fortifications and stuff, like the battlements and all the stuff, the ramparts.
Nice, like the geometry of a castle.
Yeah, I like the way a castle is laid out.
My favorite thing are hidden passages and secret pathways and tunnels and all that kind of stuff. That's my favorite thing about castles.
That's a good point.
Oh, yes. And Bran Castle, it has plenty of those. There's a well in the main courtyard that leads down to these elaborate tunnels that are underneath the castle, and they lead to many of the rooms. So you can sneak in through the well into your room if you want, or out to the well if you wanted to.
I changed my mind. You're right. That's better.
That's pretty awesome. I've always wanted it.
I've always wanted that in my house,
That's
be
what
honest.
I'm saying. One day.
So the castle's Dracula reputation that it has, however, is a pretty tenuous connection, really. The man who inspired the Dracula legend and the novel that was written by Bram Stoker was a 15th century prince named Vlad Dracula.
Yes. The prince had a nasty reputation for skewering his enemies, which earned him the moniker Vlad Tepish, or Vlad the Impaler. And he was the prince of a region called Wallachia that we were talking about earlier, and he was renowned for defending his territory against the Ottoman Turks with a very harsh hand.
Right, but it's interesting to note that in spite of his dictatorial reputation, he is kind of a national hero in Romania.
Yeah, he was beloved. So, what are you going to do? Hey, sometimes you can't kill him with kindness. You got to beat him, with a pike going up.
You got to skewer him.
Yeah. Sorry.
So back to the castle. So Bran Castle. Supposedly this castle that you see here was one of the inspirations for Bram Stoker's novel Dracula. But in reality, Vlad Tepish never lived there.
No.
There are different accounts. He may have been imprisoned there for a short time, or he may have visited once or twice, but he didn't live there, and it wasn't one of his palaces.
The place that Vlad actually lived is called Poyanar Castle. And it's located pretty far away on a cliff top, and it's just ruins now, so you can't actually go there and visit like you can with Bran Castle. Well, you can, but you just walk around ruins.
It doesn't look
sadly.
as impressive.
Yeah. But, I mean, hey, it's still a castle. That's where he probably was. But if you do want to go visit, you are going to have to get up some rather impressive stairs. I think there are 1,400 stairs that you have to climb in order to get up to the castle.
Yeah, so it's quite a hike. But according to legend, Poyanar was in ruins when Vlad came to power, so he sort of restored it.
Nice.
There are two stories. Either he conscripted Turkish prisoners of war to build it, or Wallachian noblemen that opposed him.
That's the story I heard.
Yeah, I've read two. I'm not sure which is the correct one, but he conscripted basically these people to do the work for him, and it was terrible work, and lots of them died in the process.
Yeah, the one I read is that the nobleman who he just forced them to go work, and the older ones died pretty quickly, and then the younger ones, they worked until their clothes came off, and then they continued working, and most of them died. That was the story I read.
It's not a happy history, really.
Not cool. But yeah, Vlad Tepes did live in other castles throughout his lifetime, so not only Poyanar, but this one does seem to be his main stronghold.
So that is the story of Vlad Dracula and his castles. If you'd like to learn more about him, we have a really excellent article on our site written by Stuff You Should Know's Josh Clark, and it's called Who Was the Real Dracula?
Yes,
and
top notch.
And it details a lot of this history that we're talking about and legends and things like that, so it's very good.
All right, everybody. Well, that's it for Dracula, but we will see you again very soon for more cool stuff.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com and let us know what you think. Email travelpodcast@howstuffworks.com. Don't forget to check out our other podcasts, free on iTunes.